Hey, this is Daniel from Adorama. Today on set, we're talking about umbrellas.
Woo!
Okay, so umbrellas are one of those things that most people own, but maybe they don't use that much. They're one of the least expensive pieces of equipment, and I find them to be super, super great for shooting people and a lot of other things. So I'm gonna show you the differences between different types of umbrellas and why you might want to use them in your setup. So here I have a white reflective umbrella. So it's just an umbrella with a white interior. I'm bouncing my light into it. I've set up Justina here relatively close to the background so that we can see the shadows, how they fall. Okay, here we go. So with a white umbrella, because of the nature of how the light spreads and wraps around, we have some shadow and some direction, but you can see into the shadows very easily. It's a relatively soft light, even though it's kind of far away from her at this point. The shadow on the background is super, super diffuse and spread out. These are great for group shots, or if you have to shoot multiple people, like let's say at an event, you set it up, it's kind of forgiving if people move around within the light. So the next kind I'm going to show you is a silvered umbrella. Silver is used a lot more for, let's say, fashion, because silver is going to add some specularity to your light. It's going to make it a little more punchy, so it's going to add a little glow to the skin and to the makeup. Right, so the silver umbrella is going to give a little bit more of a defined shadow, and again, because it's more specular light, the highlights are going to pop. And note that in all these examples, I'm using the same size umbrella. That way we're comparing apples to apples. Obviously, different size umbrellas, different distances would change it as well, but this is showing you exactly what the umbrella is changing. So with the translucent umbrella, the main difference here is that in most cases you're going to shoot through the umbrella. So this is going to go against what I just said, because in a sense the umbrella is going to become bigger, because when you spin the umbrella towards the subject, it's going to be closer. Closer equals bigger. So this light source is going to be much more diffuse and also softer. Like I said, because it's closer, it's softer. So our shadows we can read into a lot more, but it still has enough little punch to it because the light is shooting through the umbrella, so you've got some directionality to it. It's not scattering everywhere. So there's not as much kind of fill from the room in the shot. So while it's a softer light source, it still has a little bit of contrast to it. So those are your three main types of umbrellas that you would have on a standard, everyday shoot. There are some specialty umbrellas I want to talk about though. Like for instance, this one that we're about to switch to is a deep umbrella by Profoto. So the deep umbrella is going to give you a little bit more throw. It's going to narrow your beam angle, and it's going to make it a little bit more contrasty because of the nature of that. So the reason why it's more contrasty is because without the light flying everywhere, it's not bouncing around the room as much. So it's keeping a much more tight control over where the light falls. Here's a good example of what a deep umbrella does. Because of the nature of the throw of it, it's keeping the light much tighter, which is keeping it kind of brighter in a sense. So even though your light is always the same power, when you put it through a smaller hole, it tends to be brighter. So I'm actually gonna have to close my lens down a bit because I'm overexposing my highlights with this. Okay, so we're just gonna throw a smaller umbrella on. This is a white bounce umbrella, just so you can kind of see the difference between that and the bigger white umbrella. We'll keep the same distance and everything. Smaller umbrella, harder light. Our shadows are more blocked up, doesn't wrap around as much. All right, so this is a big umbrella. It's the extra large. It's also silver, so it's going to be specular, right? So specular deals with your highlights. So it's going to have punchy highlights, but because it's so large, this is going to be a tremendously soft source. This is going to be great for like full-length fashion type things and those kind of shots. Okay, so giant umbrella, tremendously soft. So this is a silvered umbrella. So if you remember, the previous silver umbrella had kind of harsh edge to the shadow, especially on the background. This is so large, it's wrapping around, creating a beautifully soft light, but with a lot of punch to it. So it's got a really distinct look to it. With this umbrella, like the other small deep umbrella, I ended up having to shoot at f8. So even though my umbrella is larger, because of the shape of it and because of the silver, I'm getting an extra stop. If you think about a softbox, a bigger softbox, you would be losing light. In this case, we're gaining light. So again, that's something to think about. So umbrellas aren't just the basic free thing that you get when you buy a lighting kit, some basic tool that you might have around. Think of them as a really good tool that you could use in your photography. There's lots of different types of umbrellas, and you can use them for a variety of different situations. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time on set.